Oi Brasil, olha eu aqui de novo com mais uma entrevista maravilhosa pra vocês e dessa vez é um time de peso e muita beleza. O meu papo de hoje é com Chris Pine, Hugh Grant, Regé-Jean Page e Justice Smith. Eles estiveram no Brasil para falar sobre o novo filme deles, Dungeons and Dragons. Baseado no game conhecido mundialmente, essa adaptação vem cheia de segredos. A gente tem que descobrir muita coisa ainda que não foram entregues pelos trailers. Então os atores estiveram aqui e a gente bateu um papo e eu tentei descobrir alguma coisa a mais sobre Dungeons and Dragons. Dá só uma olhada.
What is that again? It's an owlbear.
Let's go!
Be warned. There is evil here.
I'm glad he's on our side.
This one's dangerous. But whatever happens, we'll be ready.
Where are you from? Sao Paulo?
Rio.
Rio.
Yeah, have you been?
No, I haven't been to Rio. I've only been
to Rio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you like it?
Oh, Hugh.
I liked it too much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like it
I
too
went
much too.
mad. I turned into the girl from Ipanema within.
So you have learned Portuguese, right?
Não falo português.
Oh, it's really good.
But fala muito bem, muito bom.
Muito bom.
That's muito bom.
What about you, Hugh?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I have nothing to give you.
Bom dia, bom dia.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. That's good.
Ciao.
Ciao. Everything's good. So, guys, when you step in a world like Dungeons and Dragons, you have to come in with a lot of respect because you have a huge fan base. So, how hard to you to get into these characters that are so loved around the world?
Oh, I think the important thing that we try to do is make a film that was accessible to fans and people that haven't played Dungeons and Dragons. So even if you haven't played it and don't know anything about it, it's it's a fun big world of dragons and creatures and crazy effects and a good heartwarming story. So I think it was important to make sure that fans really liked it, but also the people that didn't know Dungeons and Dragons would like it too.
Mm-hmm. Hugh, we are used to see you like in romantic comedies and stuff. How was to you to get into this fantasy world and act with green screen, CGI? How was it?
Very, very difficult. But I'm very versatile. It was an enormous acting achievement on my part.
It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it weird for you?
Actually, there was very little green screen in this. It's one of the things we're proud of. A lot of the monsters and special effects are real, done by amazing engineers. When he sinks into the floor, they created a kind of quicksand, and it's amazing. So it's not just all this endless, boring CGI that we see in all these other films. This is has some more texture.
Mm-hmm. Chris, we got to see you like playing an instrument on the end of the trailer, so that means you're gonna be like doing a musical performance.
Maybe, I don't want to give it away. I definitely, the character I play, Edgin Darvis, is not particularly talented at anything. He doesn't have any special skills and he doesn't have any magical powers, but he plays the lute, not well particularly, but he likes to entertain, likes to have a good time. He's a planner.
He's just very charming.
Yeah.
Because you're making him sound a bit dreary. But he's really charming.
Yeah. Hugh and I we battle charm. These are American charm and are endlessly.
It's a charm off.
It's a charm off.
When you get into a world like this, the fantastic movie, the fantastic world, and we got the chance to see the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon characters just a little bit, and I know it's gonna be a lot of Easter eggs for you guys. So you know that the Dungeons and Dragons animation is really famous here in Brazil. So, how do you guys feel about Easter eggs?
I think it's great for, again, it's the job of these big films is to make sure, especially if you're handling something like Dungeons and Dragons where there are a lot of fans, is to make sure that people are satisfied that know things like displays for beasts and owlbears and gelatinous cubes and all these things that come from D&D lore, and also the cartoon characters or whatever, but also that if you don't know anything about it, that you can appreciate it too. So I think the Easter eggs are for the deep fans that get to have those aha moments when they see the film.
Hugh, your character can be is like a villain, but at the same time he's with comic relief. So how is it to you to play a villain in a movie like this?
I've been playing unlikable characters for about 20 years now, and I like it. Playing good people is so boring. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
Don't you think? We've had this conversation.
Well, for you. But
he does it incredibly well. It's not easy to be good, the hero, and not a bit boring. That's not easy.
It's not easy, right?
Yeah, it's much easier to be the slightly evil one. And I don't know why audiences have always, throughout history, have always been attracted to the villain.
Chris, did you have to have like a research of the Dungeons and Dragons world to get into this character?
No. There was no research for the character per se, but the obviously I wanted to understand the game, and so I ended up playing with my family and my nephew, who's a big D&D'er, and had a great time. We played with the cast, which was great fun, just to understand what the game was all about. I think what's really fun about the game is that it's so creative and so imaginative and so has a lot to do with what we do as actors too. It's just playing improv and just fucking around and having a good time. And so I think Dungeons and Dragons in many ways is it's great for kids. I think I can't imagine why every kid is not playing it in grade school. It's a great way to kind of level off the playing field of the nerds and the jocks and the dorks and the bullies and all that, because at some point you're just having fun and everybody's in the same sandbox, so to speak. And then as adults, I think it's probably the world's best drinking game of all time. It's you share a bottle of wine and have a good laugh playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you
Obrigado.
enjoy Brazil.
Bom, depois do Chris Pine falando português e do Hugh Grant cheio de piadinhas, é a vez da gente falar com o nosso eterno Duke, Regé-Jean Page, e com Justice Smith, que já tá acostumado com essa coisa de animação. E será que eles contaram algum spoiler? Dá uma olhada.
We've talked before.
When have we spoken? Have we spoken online?
Online for Bridgerton and then for Grey Man.
Excellent. Oh wow. Okay, so we've spoken multiple times.
Yes.
We're all friends.
Yes. So when you step in a world like Dungeons and Dragons, you have to come with a lot of respect because you have a huge fan base, right? So how was to you? Did you get to do any research before you got into these characters, or you just had your own vision?
A combination of both. There are these books, these very large textbooks that are full of lore and break down every class, every race of any potential character that can exist in the Dungeons and Dragons world. So a lot of preparation was studying those books. Luckily, we had this 2-week quarantine, where so I just spent that time kind of researching those books and then creating a backstory for the character based off of the lore that is already established. And that is basically what you do when you play the game as well. So it was just a larger scope, more expensive version of playing the game.
More expensive.
Acting in this movie.
Yeah, and also it's great just because for an actor, a bunch of the homework's done for you. If you need any research, there is so much material to kind of dip into to get your imagination going. As you were saying, it is all about what you do when you take that information and then run with it and make something new. And I think that's what John and Jonathan have certainly done with this movie. They've kind of taken something that they clearly care about immensely. And you've got to come with respect because people love this material, this world, and you can tell in the movie that the filmmakers love this world. There's a huge amount of heart. They're smart, they're very, very funny, but they're not afraid to be honest. They're not afraid for you to care about the people in the movie, for you to care about the world, whilst still keeping a levity, whilst we're all just kind of running around. It feels like playing the game. It's chaotic, and the characters make mistakes, and the humor comes from them discovering things about themselves and each other, which is a huge plus.
Regé, when you come, when we was like cast to Bridgerton, you said that you got a lot of help from Brazilian, a lot of support from Brazilian fans. So how is to you to now be here and getting to know them?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a huge privilege. I've been looking forward to kind of finding a way to Brazil for a long time, and so it's super cool to kind of feel the energy, start kind of getting a vibe off people, meeting people in person. I can't say enough about how exciting it is to be here. I can't wait to get into the hall later and kind of meet people close up.
Yeah, Justice, you are like familiar with playing parts with CGI, and Hugh just told me that this particular movie doesn't have a lot of CGI because there's some stuff that were real. How was to you doing this kind of interpretation with both words?
Yeah, there's this recent movement in these blockbuster style films where they try to ground the fantasy in reality as much as possible, and this has been my experience on all of those kind of larger CGI films that I've done. When you're acting on set, you're usually acting on location with some form of puppet rather than green screen. You know, and that's very refreshing because as an actor, you want it to be as immersive as possible. On this movie, the amount of detail that went into, oh God, I really want to spoil some stuff, but
Just like the characters.
You can do it.
creatures, but I was specifically going to talk about that one scene, the fish market.
Yeah, we can't talk about that.
It was so
Just
immersive.
don't
The
talk
environment
about
was
fish market.
incredibly immersive. I'll just say that. The smells were incredibly immersive.
They were real fish.
Yes.
But also, like, when Justice says puppets, I think we should clarify that these are some of the most advanced technology I've ever seen.
Animatronics.
We're not talking like, it's not like puppets.
Yeah.
It's like animatronic monsters that are a combination of like human performance and like these incredible robots. And there are times when you're speaking to these entirely fantastical creatures that couldn't exist in the world, and they feel completely real.
It was your first time doing that, right?
Yes, I'd had some experience with things like this on Mortal Engines and kind of CGI elements marrying with the real world, and they had a very big practical set on that as well. But it's as Justice says, it's a gift for an actor because a lot of the stuff, more than you think, really is happening on set.
We're talking about spoilers. Is that really hard for you to keep the spoilers out from interviews and everything?
Yeah, somewhat, but not because there's not so much to talk about other than the
because there's so much to talk about.
For me, it's just because I spoil things. Like I'm so excited by this movie and specifically the juicy parts of the movie that I want to talk about them with you guys. And I have to bite my tongue into reggae talk.
Talking about all the best bits after the movie comes out.
Yeah.
For years to come.
That's
great.
true.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your time in Brazil.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge. Truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So how do we pull that off?
Bom, esse foi meu papo com o elenco de Dungeons & Dragons, que estreia em abril de 2023. Não conseguimos extrair muitas informações, mas dá pra ver que vai ser um sucesso. Épico é a palavra. E épico também vai ser se você se inscrever no canal, ativar o sininho, comentar e compartilhar. E se você tá assistindo no Instagram, comenta e compartilha muito. E não deixa de me seguir, né? Então é isso, beijo pra vocês e até a próxima!
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so...
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
So you make plans that fail?
No.
He also plays the lute.
Not relevant.